At least the Mets now have a little resolution as far as their roster is concerned. By the way, there was another piece of good news today. Alex Cora, who we thought was going to undergo surgery on his thumb and be out 6 to 8 weeks, he threw a baseball, felt well enough. He also hit today. He's eligible to come off the disabled list next Wednesday, and it looks like he'll make it.
Well, we knew he was a gamer. Now he's going to prove it.
Alex has been staying with the team during his injury, and that's been important, too, for his leadership skills. So Levon about set to go. Christian Guzman settling in for the Nats. Threatening skies overhead, 55 degrees as we start play tonight. Guzman hitting at 344, and Levon's first pitch in for a strike. Guzman struggling the last few days, just 2 for 17 over the last 4 games. Now in his 5th year with the Nats, missed all of one and most of another season because of injury. Takes the fastball outside 1-1, but when he plays, he hits.
Very interesting player. When he's with Minnesota, as you see Nick Johnson on deck, he was more of a guy that would get his base hits, but a 260, 270 hitter. Now, last couple of seasons, up over 320, 344 this year.
He was a triples machine in Minnesota.
He had 19 one year, didn't he?
Doesn't quite have the wheels that he once did, and is not as steady a defensive shortstop as you'd like, but he can hit, and he's a little ill-cast as a leadoff hitter only because he rarely draws a walk. He's drawn 2 walks all season. Levon's ahead of him 1-2. And Guzman slaps one foul. It'll be Guzman, then Nick Johnson, and Ryan Zimmerman for the Nats. We're averaging just under 5 runs per game this year. They had a stretch not too long ago where they lost 6 straight games and scored at least 5 runs in every game. 1-2, fouled away. I will just tell you that their problem this year, well, they've got 2. One is pitching, and the other is defense.
But I think they made a nice move by having all these rookie starters that they have now to go with John Lannon, who pitched in last night's ball game.
In fact, the kid Stammen, who's starting tonight, is the oldest starter in the rotation right now. He's 25. Again, the 1-2 to Guzman, and it's on the inside corner. Strike 3 call. So Levon starts the night with a strikeout, 1 away.
Again, like the Los Angeles game, we've seen Levon start to pitch to left-handers and right-handers in again, and that has opened up the entire plate for him.
Isn't it interesting? We were talking a couple of starts back about how Levon wasn't working inside at all, but that pitch, the one you saw right there, that 2-seamer that cuts back in against the left-hand hitter, that's the one that he taught Mike Pelfrey during spring training.
And you know, you think to yourself, how could that get lost in what he was throwing? It's funny, a pitcher sometimes can't always be the best judge of what's going on in the field. That's why you have that pitching coach.
Here's Nick Johnson, 1 for 3 last night as a 9-game hitting streak going, hitting .338 on the year. Nick takes a strike. Having Nick Johnson in town only enhances the trade rumors that are swirling around him, with the Mets certainly in that picture. 0-2 now to Johnson.
It's a different Levon that you see sometimes in the game. Sometimes it takes him a while to loosen up. He looks like he's ready to go here in the first.
Gave up his only run in L.A. in the first inning in his last start, allowed 2 straight hits and a sacrifice fly in that first inning, and then shut the Dodgers down for 6. 1-2 now to Johnson with Ryan Zimmerman to follow.
What you're going to have to worry about for Levon tonight, he has given up 6 home runs so far in the season in 8 starts, and this is a home run hitting team, these Nationals, even if it is Citi Field.
Outside.
2-2 now to Johnson. Nick missed most of the last 2 seasons because of injury, but has been able to stay injury-free in 2009, and he's one of the key reasons why the Nationals are off to such a good offensive start despite their poor record.
Inside.
That one just missed the inside corner. Tried to put away Johnson the same way he got Guzman. Here you see some of the numbers for the Nationals offense. 2nd and 3rd in the league in a variety of categories. Not a whole lot of team speed, so only 17 steals, but they have generated enough offense to win. Foul down the left field side. Johnson checking his bat for a crack.
CSI to figure out if there's anything wrong with that bat. If he looks it over,
maybe we can do it before it's like freeze camp. 3-2 from Hernandez. Grounded out to Castillo. And Livan has set down the first two. So 2 out and nobody on. Ryan Zimmerman coming up. That's what Livan did in his last start, a no decision game.
You know, the key for me right there is the 1 walk. He sometimes get in the mode where he'll pitch around certain guys, have 4 or 5 walks, too many people on base, but he really was aggressive in his last start.
Once again, the Dodgers won with a run in the bottom of the 8th, 2-1. So here's Zimmerman, 1 for 4 last night, has reached base in 43 straight games, a new Expos/National single season record. Hitting .346 for the year, 5th in the National League, 11 homers, 35 driven in, off to a tremendous start over the first 2 months. Best numbers he's ever put up. And the curveball from Livan drops in. 0-2.
He already has 14 doubles this year in 06 and 07, 47 in 06, 43 in 07. So he is a doubles machine. Last year slowed by injury.
Drafted in 2005, came to the big leagues the same season. This proved to be a very productive draft for the Nats. 0-2, fastball fouled away. Tonight's starting pitcher Craig Stammen was drafted in 2005. Justin Maxwell, who was here with the Nats, and John Lavin, who pitched last night, also was in that 2005 draft. When you get drafted by a team that is struggling, there is early opportunity abounding. Here's the 0-2 off the corner, 1-2.
I know how Stammen's got to feel in 1985 when we had that young staff. I was the oldest guy, really, 25 years old. You had Dwight and Sid, of course.
And Zimmerman fouls it away.
One thing we haven't seen Hernandez do yet is pop a right-hander inside, especially with the counts 1-2. Just throw one of those 4-seamers right at his belt buckle. That would open up the outside corner for him a little, but not a favorite so far this season for Livan.
Righties have hit him harder than lefties so far this year. They're hitting .330 against him. And Zimmerman grounds it out to short. Ramon Martinez picks it clean. A 1-2-3 inning for Livan Hernandez to start the night. Now the Mets come to bat against Craig Stammen with no score. Mets starting lineup tonight. Angel Pagan will probably lead off most of the time, with Jose Reyes now on the disabled list. Fernando Tatis moves up to the 5-hole as David Wright takes Carlos Beltran's 3 spot. And there's Fernando Martinez making his big league debut, hitting 6th. One of 2 Martinezes in the lineup for the Mets tonight.
Craig Stammen taking the mound. This is his 2nd big league start. He was outstanding early in his last start against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Tied the first 12, 19 of the first 20, and lost it a little bit in the 7th inning.
Angel Pagan leads things off, and Pagan takes a strike. Angel making his 6th start since being called up on the last road trip. 6 for 23 to begin his 2009 big league season. Stammen works quickly, keeps the ball down.
Tries not to throw anything above the knees. Sinker and slider for Stammen. Occasional curveball, occasional changeup.
2-1 to Pagan. Luis Castillo on deck, and then David Wright here in the first. Well, the Nationals have remade their pitching staff over and over again this season. Broken back grounder by Pagan, and Guzman makes the play. Wide throw, but Johnson stays on the bag, 1 away.
Well, defensively for the Nationals, you can see Willingham now playing left field, so they move Dunn to right. Harris stays in center field. Zimmerman's going to get a Gold Glove someday, although over David Wright's dead body. Guzman, Hernandez, and Johnson in the infield, and Josh Bard gets to start behind the plate.
Now Castillo, who had a couple of hits last night, including a double. That was batting right-handed. He has struggled a little more from the left side of late, and he takes a fastball for a strike. You mentioned the Nationals remaking their pitching staff, which they've done repeatedly over the first 2 months of the season. First in the bullpen and then in the rotation. Scott Olson got hurt, and that opened the door for them to clear 1 spot in the rotation. As Castillo flares one out to short, and Guzman picks it off for the 2nd out. And then the utter failure of Daniel Cabrera to throw strikes. They moved him to the bullpen. We saw him last night. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but that leads to this starting rotation, which is 4 rookies plus Lannon, who's a 2nd-year guy.
Lannon's only got 47 big league starts. Martin, as you see, has gotten off to a great start. They're really high on Detweiler. Stammen has been great in that 1 first start. Not great, but he was solid. And Zimmerman's the guy they think that can be a #1 or #2 starter in the big leagues.
We saw Zimmerman earlier this year, and he'll pitch against Johan Santana tomorrow night. So here's David Wright, and a lot falls on David's shoulders now, with Delgado out for the long term, and Reyes out for at least a week and a half, and Beltran missing the next 2 games. That leaves David alone among the 4 players that you recognize as the core of this Mets team. Gary Sheffield waiting on deck. And David grounds one to the hole, base hit. So the Mets have the first base runner of the game, a 2-out single for Wright. Now that'll bring up Sheffield, who hit a 3-run homer last night to power the Mets offense. It took 6 minutes of video review for the umpires to confirm that it was a 3-run homer, but it was Gary's 4th of the year and his 503rd lifetime. And again, a lot more falls on Sheffield now, more than the Mets ever would have thought when they signed him right before the season. Wright runs, and Sheffield takes low. The throw by Bard is not in time. David running first pitch. His 11th stolen base of the year.
Nice aggressive running here by David. Picked a good pitch. Fastball in the dirt. Kind of tripped up was Bard by his own feet, but got off a good, strong throw. David just had too good of a jump.
Bard had thrown out 3 out of 5 this year, but now right in scoring position for Sheffield. He takes a strike on the inside.
First pitch hitting off John Lannon in that 3rd at bat. Just gets it over the wall. Not according to John Lannon, of course. He had vested interest. But Larry Vanover, the home plate umpire and crew chief, made the right call.
Line toward left center, but over goes Harris in front of it, and Sheffield retired to end the inning. We go to the 2nd at Citi Field. Adam Dunn set to lead off for the Nats with no score. Yankees and all things New York sports. Catch Brian Custer and Brandon Tierney as they take on the biggest sports topics of the day in the Wheelhouse, presented by Pepsi, weekdays at 5:30 only on SNY. Livan Hernandez got the Nats 1-2-3 in the first. Adam Dunn leads off the second. 0 for 4 last night. And he lines one the other way, a base hit, and for Adam Dunn, that is his 1,000th career base hit in uncharacteristic fashion to the opposite field. And they tossed that ball out for safekeeping. Pat Listach, the Nats third base coach.
So inappropriate that his 1,000th base hit will be to the opposite field as a single, as he has become a home run machine.
Adam Dunn, of his 1,000 hits, 29% of them have been home runs. That's a big number. Compared to the other members of the 1,000 hit club, only one player who's had 1,000 hits in his career has had a higher percentage of his hits be home runs, and that was Mark McGwire. Willingham dumps one into shallow right center for a base hit, and so the Nats have the first 2 men on in the second inning. I mean, Adam Dunn has a higher percentage of his hits being home runs than Dave Kingman, than Harmon Killebrew, than Jim Thome, than Barry Bonds. I mean, guys who you think of as being sluggers. Especially a guy like Killebrew. He didn't have a particularly high average and hit over 500 home runs.
240 hitter, right?
So it just gives you an idea about Dunn and the kind of hitter that he has been. That will walk a lot, strike out a lot, hit 40 home runs a year. So 2 aboard for the Nats. Now Willie Harris, who went 1 for 3, had a double last night. And he shows Bunn right playing in at third.
I don't think this is such a great play. You see, oh, there it is. Minimum 1,000 hits, almost 36% for McGwire. I don't recommend this play that much. Livan Hernandez is a very good fielder. If he doesn't make a perfect bunt, Harris, Livan has an easy play at third base with the slow running Dunn.
Harris pops one foul, so they showed bunt to the first pitch, but Harris swinging on the second. Josh Bard, the switch hitting catcher, is on deck. One and one to Harris, the latest center fielder for the Nats. We've used a bunch of them this year. Elijah Dukes is hurt right now. Lastings Millage is in the minors and hurt. Roger Bernardina is hurt. Did I leave anybody out? Justin Maxwell's on the bench. He hasn't hit. So Harris, a guy who has played for a bunch of teams, been a very successful player, won a championship with the White Sox in 05, was a big pest against the Mets while wearing a Braves uniform. He gets the call. And he might be the best option of all of them right now.
Steady. He's a steady player. You know what you're going to get.
2-1 to Harris. And Livan paints with the fastball. It's 2-2.
A little two-seamer. You can see it start on the plate. Just run a little bit off. Gets the call from Iasonia.
Dunn and Willingham aboard with nobody out. No score. We're in the second. And Harris grounds a double play ball to Castillo. Ramon Martinez the turn in time for the double play. 4-6-3. 2 out.
Nice play here by Castillo. Gets rid of it quickly. Coming across the bag. Martinez with a strong throw. He needed all of this to go perfect with the speed of Harris, and the Mets pulled it off.
And Livan loving it. Dunn moves to third on the play, but now there are 2 out. Josh Bard played last year in San Diego. Veteran backup catcher, now 31 years old. Josh was actually born in Ithaca, New York. Although he grew up in Colorado.
Very interesting career. Was traded to the Red Sox, but because of his inability to be able to catch Wakefield, didn't stick with the team.
And that was the deal where the Red Sox, in a panic, traded Bard and Clay Meredith to the Padres to get Doug Mirabelli back. And Meredith has been a mainstay in the Padres bullpen ever since. And Bard had some very good years with San Diego. And one year he hit .338 with the Padres. Off to play with the changeup, and it's 2-1.
Well, I think Bard is one of those guys that switching catcher, you always like those, but I think his defense hasn't always been up to snuff with his offense. More of an offensive player.
Anderson Hernandez on deck. Padres are without their #1 catcher right now. Jesus Flores, who's on the disabled list with a bruised shoulder. Fouled away, 2-2. The Nats are hoping to get Flores back by this weekend, which means the Mets will see him when they go to Washington next week. So right now Bard and Will Nieves are holding down the fort behind the plate. Done at third with 2 down.
Interesting. Starting pitcher Stammen standing up.
He has a lot of stamina. 2-2 inside, the full count to Bard. Levon loving that little 2-seamer on the inside.
Let's see if he'll double up, though. I think right here, just personally, you never want to put a guy on base. Good pitch here, but I'd certainly be much more careful with Bard with Hernandez on deck.
Lifted to left center. Sheffield calling. Side retired. So back-to-back base hits to lead off the inning, but Levon keeps him off the board. Brought to you by SuperGuarantee.com. Attention Met fans, you can win an Empire Suite for 16 people, including food and beverages for the Mets-Dodgers game July 7th. Go to SuperGuarantee.com and register using reference code METS. They'll also be collecting children's book donations at the game this Friday, May 29th, benefiting local boys and girls clubs. Fernando Tatis leads off for New York in the home second inning with no score. Tatis had a hit last night to break a long over. 1 for his last 17 now. And he fouls one at the plate, 0-1. It's been an odd year for Tatis so far. He didn't play at all early on in the season, then had a flurry of activity. As Fernando Martinez getting set for his big league at bat. First one, and what must he be thinking? Ooh. Now all of a sudden, with all the injuries, Tatis playing more, and he takes a strike 0-2.
the toughest thing, Gary, isn't it, for any manager? Is that, one, I think the most important thing, how you run your pitching staff is number one, and two, how do you keep everyone fresh? National League much easier than the American League.
And Tatis takes just off the plane with the fastball. 2-2 from Stammen. Well, Fernando was money in a backup role last year and got off to a hot start this year once he got a chance to get in the lineup. 2-2. And he just got a piece of that to stay alive.
And arguably in the last month, dislocating his shoulder was one of the losses that the Mets could not handle.
Well, don't forget tomorrow night, Johan Santana takes the mound. Major event baseball every time he does for the final game of this series. 2-2 breaking ball fouled away.
Well, I wouldn't say, only because I was in uniform then. I used to get pretty excited when number 16 would take the hill, but it's pretty close coming here and being able to do the games when Johan Santana pitches. Just don't know what's going to happen. Something special, something that's never been done here might be happening by Santana.
Down to third, a foul ball. Well, it's very much the same as back in the day when Tom Seaver used to take them out for the Mets. You never knew if that was the day you'd throw a no-hitter or strike out 18 or what. The Mets have been blessed with some great pitching over the years. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat to Tatis. And he chops one to short for Guzman. And makes the running toss on target, one away, and that'll bring up Fernando Martinez.
The right fielder, number 26, Fernando Martinez.
Well, Met fans have been waiting a long time for this debut. He's only 20 years old, but the Mets signed him when he was 16. And here he is, his first big league at bat. And he takes a strike from Craig Stammen. You always want to call up a player when he's hot. And Fernando Martinez was tearing up the International League in May. Hitting .337 with 7 homers and 20 RBIs in 24 games this month. And he's here to play. He's not here to sit on the bench. As long as he is here, he's going to stay in the lineup. The question is, can he hit enough to stay in the lineup once the Mets are healthier?
Well, that's why they were reticent about bringing him up. They did not want to bring him up and have him sit on the bench. He has to play every day.
Strikes out on a pitch in on him, so Craig Stammen fans Fernando Martinez in his first big league at bat.
Good straight dart of a fastball inside Martinez. Fouled off, but nice job by Bard holding on. You lay in your bed all those nights thinking about that first at bat in the big leagues. I'm sure it never was like that.
Not everybody can be Kevin Kuzminoff.
That's right.
Who had the ultimate first big league at bat, hitting a grand slam on the first pitch he saw. Most are more like that. Romeo Santos pounds one foul. That's 1-1.
Boy, does Martinez look young. All the Mets who have any gray in their beards just feeling a little older today.
Ramon Martinez, no relation, on deck. Santos lays off. 2-1. It's fair to say that it had not been for the injuries that sidelined Fernando for long stretches of time over the last 3 years. He might have been here last year or opening day this year. I mean, Fernando Martinez over the last 3 years has had thumb, knee, hand, hamstring, and elbow injuries. And
what that does is it retards your progress. It doesn't allow you to become that hitter who has better chance at pitch selection, getting the ball you want to hit. All those things, it stops that from going.
Santos fouls it at the plate. Most recently, Martinez hurt his elbow during winter ball as Santos walks off that last one. And that prevented Fernando from playing the field during spring training this year. We saw him only as a pinch hitter and as a designated hitter. Had only 6 at-bats in Major League spring training before the Mets sent him out. Santos a little more shaken than it looked when that ball was first fouled off. And Ray Ramirez, the trainer, is going to come out and have a look.
Yeah, that got him pretty good.
Got him right on the shin, it appears.
They always tell you as a ball player, don't rub it in front of anyone, but he had to. Hurt so much.
Weeknights at 6, find out what has Chris Carlin and Adam Shine foaming at the mouth as they take on the biggest sports topics of the day. Your calls and each other on Loudmouths, presented by Geico. Weeknights at 6 only on SNY. Ray Ramirez is the hardest working man in show business right now.
He is. Wow. I don't know if he can go home right now, but watch this sinker in, fouled right off that front shin. Think about it, folks. A 90-mile-an-hour fouled ball into your shin. There's going to be a little time to wait.
Mark Castro, the only other catcher on the roster, not budging because he knows Santos will stay in. 3-2 the count to Omir with 2 out and nobody on. And he lines one to left field, a base hit. Chased to the corner by Willingham. Santos running on that sore shin, nonetheless happy as he pulls in at second base with a 2-out double.
Well, this ball, first one really from Stammen up in the strike zone. Nice hitting by Omir. Quick bat pulling that ball down the line. Dunn had him play to left center. And when he came out, anytime you get a hit, you're turning it on. And then as soon as he knows he has a double, he probably was reminded, hey, wait a minute, my leg still hurts as the rain comes down.
Raining very lightly here at Citi Field. Now Ramon Martinez with the number 8 hitter up at first base open. Takes low and outside for ball 1.
Well, the ILTV pitch differential. Bart wanted that ball down, and that really is middle of the plate, a little bit in, but on that 3-2 pitch, Omir can anticipate a fastball.
Ramon Martinez just 2 for 26 since being called up, and he takes a strike. A lot of times in this spot you'll walk the 8-hitter to get to the pitcher, but right now it's 50-50.
Hernandez is a good hitter. Martinez, like Gary said, has been struggling. You know, worked against the Mets last night. Nieves got a hit to drive in a run. He was the 8th place hitter last night.
Just off the plate. It's 2-1. Mets today made a deal. They acquired Wilson Valdez, who had been playing in the minor league system with the Cleveland Indians, another light hitting shortstop known for his defense, and he is here and available and wearing number 4. 3-1 now to Martinez. That'll send Bart out to run. There's Wilson, who got a huge enthusiastic welcome from Jose Reyes. They're old friends. Wilson Valdez was actually the property of the Mets once before. In 2005, they claimed him off waivers at the end of spring training and then lost him on waivers 3 days later. Valdez was playing at AAA Columbus. He's got about 111 big league games with 4 different teams. And he is here as infield insurance while Reyes is out. 31-year-old journeyman. 3-1 to Ramon Martinez. Line to right field. That's in for a base hit. And that'll bring home the game's first run. Dunn can't play it cleanly. Martinez to second. Harris recovers it. And Martinez arrives safely at second as Santos scores. 1-0 New York. So the Nats opt to pitch to the number 8 hitter with first base open and get burned.
Well, nice hitting by Martinez going the other way, not trying to pull this baseball. Driving it right in the gap. Dunn, who played left field last night, not known for his fielding, off the end of the glove. Martinez into second with a double. Saw this happen last night to Johnny Maine. Will Nieves got a base hit to right field. Cost him a run early, but that's the only one he gave up.
So for Martinez, his first extra base hit of the season, his 4th run batted in. 1-0 New York, and now Livan Hernandez, who has 2 hits and 14 at bats this year. Lifetime 231 hitter. This all began with 2 out and nobody on. Santos fouling the ball off his shin, creating a bit of a delay. Now on the next pitch, Stammen throws one down the middle. Santos gets a double. Falls behind Martinez 3-1. Ramon delivers a double. There's a strike, 1-2 to Livan.
Santos every day does something to help your team, doesn't he? shakes off that bruised shin and gets a double. Scores the Mets' first run.
Opportunity in this game is an amazing thing. Slow ground ball for Guzman. And that'll do it for the Mets in the home second, but a pair of 2-out doubles by the 7 and 8 hitters Santos and Ramon Martinez give Livan Hernandez a 1-0 lead going to the third. Baseball on SNY is brought to you by Drag Me to Hell from Sam Raimi, the director of Spider-Man, in theaters May 29th, and by Firestone, a tradition of innovation.
Interesting end of May day, raining and people bundled up. It's very chilly here tonight.
55 degrees, wind blowing in from the east tonight. Anderson Hernandez leads off the third inning and grounds one right past Livan and into center field. A leadoff hit for the former Met. So the Nats have the leadoff man on for the second straight inning. Anderson's been swinging the bat pretty well.
He really has. Last year he only limited action, 81 games, hit .333. Not, you can't really get a sign there, but he's come out a lot better. Hitting the ball on the ground, Gary. I think that's the key. Line drives on the ground, not pop-ups.
So the pitcher Stammen up there to bunt. Right charging hard. He bunts it the other way down to Tatis, who makes the tag. 3 unassisted on the sacrifice, moving Hernandez to second.
First baseman Fernando Tatis hold him on and then busted in to try to make a play at second base, but you have to give Stammen credit. That is about a picture-perfect bunt. Make the first baseman field it on the line, no chance of wheel and turn.
Just like they taught it at the University of Dayton, where he's the all-time strikeout leader. So a runner at second with 1 out for Christian Guzman. It took a call third strike his first time.
Took the first pitch for striking his first at bat. Guzman loves to jump on the first pitch in his second at bat. I think you can throw him the same pitch.
He does. Fastball hit to right. And Martinez with his first chance. Tagging and heading for third is Anderson Hernandez, and he'll make it without a throw. So Guzman flies out for the second out. Good call, Ronnie. How do you know these things?
I don't know. It's just being out there so long. But honestly, that's what you want to do. Is Martinez gets behind, nice form, getting behind that ball. Had no chance to throw him out there, so hit the cutoff man. Very nice.
Remember, he had those elbow problems that slowed him earlier this year. So 2 out, tying run at third, and here's Nick Johnson, who grounded out to Castillo his first time up. Nick is a great guy to have up in RBI spots because he never gets too anxious.
I think you make a great point, Gary. A lot of hitters feel that anxiety of trying to drive that run in. Nick has the same approach. Doesn't matter who's out there, who's on.
And if you don't throw him strikes, he'll take his walk, because hitting in the number 2 spot, he knows he's got hitters behind him.
He's got a great eye. He also, if you don't change it up on him and just stay in one part of the plate, he'll adjust. And if you pitch him away, hit that ball that way. If you're only pitching him in, he'll turn on it.
Before the Nats acquired Adam Dunn, Johnson, when he was healthy, was miscast. He had to be a middle of the order guy because they just didn't have anybody else. Now he's properly placed as a 2-hitter with Zimmerman and Dunn behind him.
You're right. At some point when you're a 3rd or 4th hitter, sometimes you don't always want to take those walks. You want to try to drive the run in. And Zimmerman's red hot. Dunn's hitting for power again.
Outside 3-1. And you know, the Mets right now are feeling compelled to go with what they've got at first base. But you know, if they could make the right deal, Omar would pick up Nick Johnson in a heartbeat.
Omar had Johnson, all right, Montreal.
And it's in for a call strike 3-2. Of course, the caveats before you make a deal with that, we'll have Omar on later tonight and maybe talk about that a little bit, although he can't talk specifics. You know, you bring on a player like Nick Johnson, and then Delgado comes back, then what do you do?
Yeah, can't play another position.
Right. Neither one can. Nationals have that problem with Dimitri Young. Three and two now to Johnson. And he hits it hard down to Tatis. Recovers to get it to Levon. And that gets the Mets through the top of the 3rd. So Tatis handles the smash by Johnson. Top of the batting order coming up for the Mets in the bottom of the 3rd, leading at 1-0. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. Your world delivered. There are the numbers early, maybe backwards. But you get the idea.
Levon will take it.
He'll take 91. I don't think he's seen it for a few years now. Craig Stammen takes the mound from the bottom of the 3rd against the top of the Mets batting order. Pagan, Castillo, and Wright, with the Mets leading 1-0. Pagan shattered his bat and grounded out to short his first time up. Playing in center field with Carlos Beltran sitting for the first time this season. Carlos had a cortisone shot just below his knee today. He's got a bone bruise and inflammation of the tibia just below the knee. and took the cortisone shot to try and relieve some of that inflammation and hopes to play on Friday. Line center field, base hit for Pagan. So after an 0 for 9 stretch, Pagan leads off the home third inning with a base hit. And it'll bring up Luis Castillo. Castillo hit a soft liner to short his first time up. And the way the Mets are currently constituted, you figure a bunt. Well, there's Carlos, is not used to sitting. He had started every game this year. He was upbeat before the game today. He felt, he knows he's not going to be 100% on Friday, but he at least knows that it's not a serious medical issue that he's dealing with. Pagan runs, Bard with the throw, Pagan safe with his 4th stolen base of the season.
Well, any doubt that the game plan against Bard and Stamen was to run, as both Wright and now Pagan running on first pitch in there easily. Stamen is quick to the plate, but he has not even paid any attention on that first pitch to either runner.
Wright ran first pitch in the first inning. Pagan does the same. Mets now with 49 steals. 2-0 now to Castillo. Mets are number 1 in the National League in stolen bases, and they've been stealing a lot lately. 20 steals in the last 12 games.
You see Guzman shaded towards second base to keep Pagan close. Zimmerman in, Nick Johnson in against Castillo.
Down and taking a look with nobody covering. Light rain continues to fall.
No one's covering. You say, why did he do that spin move? Really what he's trying to do is see if Luis Castillo will tip his hand, show a bunt again.
And time as for by Bard. 25-year-old Craig Stammen, just his second big league start as David Wright waits on deck. Stammen in his first start retired the first 12 hitters to face him against the Pirates. A little more problematic this time around. And this time Guzman does cover, but no throw.
These young pitchers, these are the things that if you don't spend a lot of time in the minor leagues, sometimes you don't get you don't do a great job of holding runners on. All the little things, the little nuances of the game. Stammen looks pretty good, though.
Castillo bunts it foul. Running up is the bunt for a hit that time.
When you have all these young pitchers for the Washington Nationals, of course, there's going to be a period of time. Those are his numbers from his first start, where there's going to be some growing pains. One of the problems the young pitchers have is trusting their stuff. If you don't have a lot of minor league experience, all of a sudden in the first inning you're facing Gary Sheffield. You're saying, wait a minute, 5 years ago I'm in college and watching this guy in the World Series. And you start to think that you've got to make better pitches than you've made in the minor leagues.
Castillo bunts another one foul.
And then you make the adjustments. And you are going to be hit hard sometimes. And you're going to go through some tough moments where you're going to throw great pitches and they're going to be hit because these are the best hitters in the world. But trusting your stuff is the key thing. And when you rush guys up, they haven't had the chance to go through all those growing pains. So when they come up, it's the right time. They have to learn how to do it here in the major leagues.
3-2 to Castillo. But even if you've spent the proper amount of time in the minor leagues, isn't there at least an awe factor for that first beginning of your big league career anyway?
There's an awe factor. There's also that extra deck on the stadium. That third deck that changes everything.
3-2 to Castillo. And he takes ball 4. So Stammen loses Castillo, who failed to get a bunt down twice, but winds up drawing the walk in front of David Wright. So Stammen had walked only 1 in his first start, has issued his first walk of this game and jumped right into the fire with Wright, who singled to left his first time up.
You know what I was lucky for, Gary, is that my pitching coach was Al Jackson, and what he taught me is that being a major league pitcher is a job. You're not going up there to hang around in New York, have a blast, make great money. Every 5th day, you've got to honor that day, and the days in between, make sure that you're physically ready to make that start every 5th day. That made it much easier for me.
David lines one to right field, but Dunn is there to reach up and make the grab. Pagan tags at second and heads on to third. So right hit it hard the other way, and Dunn looking a little bit awkward at the reach up high to grab it for the first down.
Yeah, that ball almost carried over his head as David hit that right on the nose. Fastball away, supposed to be in. And another productive at bat by David Wright, despite making it out here. Pagan to third base.
Wright has seen Dunn play right field. They were teammates in the WBC for the USA.
Saw him play first base too. A little problem there in the World Baseball Classic, but Dunn had a nice offensive series.
Here's Sheffield, who lined out to center field his first time up, first and third and one out. And Gary takes the low, ball one. That's going to run in the second inning on 2 out doubles by Santos and Ramon Martinez. Now Pagan with a base hit, a stolen base. Castillo a walk. Wright moving Pagan with the line drive to right field. And Sheffield takes ball 2.
So these are the things I'm talking about. Stammen with no one on base, very confident, going right after the hitters, and all of a sudden you get Gary Sheffield up. You saw him hit a 3-run home run on a ball in last night. Defense very straight up for Gary, and you know, I want to go in, but it's Gary Sheffield.
3-0 now to Sheff. So it's somewhere between the head and the arm that the adjustment needs to be made.
That's why pitchers, when they're 26, 27, 28, that's their greatest time, because the physical gifts combine with the intellect.
Ball 4 and the bases are loaded for Tatis. Second walk of the inning issued by Stammen. And that'll bring Randy St. Clair, the longtime pitching coach, out to the mound to talk to his young charge.
St. Clair was a relief pitcher for the Montreal Expos franchise. Very similar to Stammen in the way he pitched. He used to be a sinker slider guy, occasional good changeup. And I think right here you're just trying to assure the young pitcher that, hey, your strength is in the bottom of the strike zone. You throw a ball down there, you're going to get a ground ball. If you get a ground ball, you got a chance to get out of this inning.
One of Stammen's strengths in the minor leagues this year was the way he pitched in RBI situations. Pitching for Syracuse in his 7 starts, opposing hitters with runners in scoring position were 2 for 32. So he did well under pressure in the minors. Can he do the same at this level? Facing Tatis with the bases loaded and 1 out. And Fernando takes curveball for a strike, 0-1. I've seen a lot of Stammen's curveball.
Gutty pitch right there. After walking Sheffield, goes to the curveball for a strike.
Tatis grounded out his first time up. 1 for his last 18 at the plate, and really struggling in RBI situations lately. Gets one to shortstop. Guzman can't field it cleanly. Everybody's safe, and a run comes home. 2-0 New York. Now that ball was hit so hard that if Guzman fields that, it's an easy double play. But it trickled off his glove, and Pagan scores to make it 2-0.
Well, that's the problem. This ball hit right on the nose, and Guzman can't get there on time or get the glove down. Doesn't quite have the range as he did as a young Minnesota player. That ball gets through him, and Mets get another run.
Looks like they scored that a base hit for Tatis. Give him an RBI, his 10th. Base is still loaded for Fernando Martinez, who grounds one down to Nick Johnson. Gets the out at second. Guzman relay not in time, and a run comes in. And it's 3-0 New York. So Fernando Martinez picks up his first major league run batted in by beating out the relay, bringing Castillo home.
This ball hit awfully hard, and he hit to the wrong guy. Johnson's outstanding there at first base. Gets the force, but this is always the toughest play to get it back to the pitcher. Nice save by Stammen. Oh, short hops him. That throw behind Stammen, no chance, but Martinez, watch this speed. That's another gear right there.
Well, he's a 5-tool player. That's one of the tools. He can get down the line. First and third now. Santos check swings one foul. So the Mets have cashed 2 here in the 3rd inning. Playing small ball. Stolen base and advancing fly ball. Infield hit by Tatis producing a run, and then Martinez's grounder bringing home another. 3-0 Mets. Breaking ball in the dirt. 1-1 to Santos.
Just a nice shape of an inning. Pagan hitting a changeup up the middle. Castillo getting a walk after trying to advance the runner on a bunt. White with a critical at bat to get Pagan to third. Sheffield not getting too anxious and taking the walk.
Santos doubled and scored in the second inning. He fouls one back. You know, you look at this Mets lineup tonight, and you don't know what to expect from a 20-year-old kid hitting sixth. And you say, well, there's not a whole lot of depth in that lineup once you get past Sheffield in the fourth spot. But you know, the Mets are stringing things together, and that's what you've got to do when you're shorthanded.
And when they had all the big boppers in there, more prone to strikeouts, these are hitters that usually put the ball in play.
Santos lays off, and it's 2-2. Josh Bart able to get down in the dirt a couple of times.
I think smother is the word you want to do if you're a catcher. Let him get down, gets right in front of that baseball.
Martinez back to the bag.
And finally Stammen paying attention to the runners at first base. Be interesting to see if Martinez tries to go after his first stolen base.
Sheffield at third with 2 out. Fernando not getting a very big lead. Upstairs, ball 3. No, I was just thinking Fernando Martinez. We talked about Jonathan Neese earlier this year, who was born the day the Mets won the World Series in '86. Fernando Martinez was born in the midst of the League Championship Series in '88.
Wow.
Of '88. That's young. Fernando runs 3-2. Santos pops it up. Zimmerman in foul ground. And the inning is over. But the Mets scratch out a pair driven in by Tatis and by Fernando Martinez, his first Major League RBI. Omar Minaya joins us as we go to the 4th inning. Mets with a 3-0 lead. Fourth inning, Mets with a 3-0 lead, and joining us here in the booth is Mets General Manager Omar Minaya for the Business of Baseball, brought to you by Xerox, ready for real business. And you've been a busy guy the last couple of days trying to figure out how to compensate for all these injuries.
Yeah, that's what this is. The past couple of days have been really, as a general manager, where when they pay you the kind of money to be able to work and be on the phone and try to make decisions, and you kind of always really, you have to kind of wait. When we use the word day-to-day on players, we have to say, hey, let's see what happens, how he recovers. And but the bottom line is we had to make decisions today. And the plan was that we were going to give it a, especially with good players. What happens is, whenever you have players like Jose Reyes, you really do not want to put him on the DL. Whether it's a Chippy Jones, whether it's Albert Pujols, premium players, you just don't want to put them on the DL. So you really want to be able to give them the chance to be able to find out if they can play or not play. But today we made the decision. It's an exciting day because it's the first time we get a chance to bring up a kid like a Fernando Martinez.
What forced your hand today? I mean, you had Reyes and Church kind of in limbo for a few days. You had Beltran, who was DHing and then struggling a little bit with the knee last night. Was it the fact that Carlos wouldn't play for a couple of days that finally forced your hand?
That kind of forced our hand even more. We've been playing with guys that were can play in an emergency situation. And now when you know that with Carlos not being available to us, and I could not put Jerry in a situation where Carlos is not available, Ryan Church is, we don't know for sure, and we say, you know what, we're going to have to make this move right now. And it really helped us too, because when we ran Church early in the day, he was not all there. He could have probably played in an emergency situation, but you don't want to be in a situation where it's an emergency.
Zimmerman right to the corner, and a Jewish foul.
And when we found out that Carlos was going to be out for 2 days, we said, look, we have to make a move here. And that kind of started the process. And then with Jose, it was how was he feeling? It was day to day. Yesterday was the first day that he was running. Today, he was just not feeling it. And we said, look, you know what? If he's not really feeling it, let's be conservative about this.
Well, isn't that the hardest part now, Omar, than when you probably first started? You have all the medical experts that see one thing. You've got your great trainers that really feel something with the athlete and have a close relationship. And then you have the athlete. Every athlete wants to play.
Exactly. So. And most of these guys want to play. But as a general manager, you have to also say, hey, we have to protect the players. And, I thought these guys are kind of they're aggressive. They want to play. We're still in May. If we're in September, these guys will be playing. But we're in May right now. And a lot of times we have to be dependent. And Ron, you are an athlete, they'll give you a shot. And some of these shots take a couple of days to work. So between the shots and between the medicines that they got to take, it's all dependent upon how these medicines and shots come and affect the players. But the bottom line is, with high, premium quality athletes, you are resistant to put them on the DL, because a guy like a Beltran yesterday, Beltran played out there. He was hurt. He went out there and played, but he made a difference in that game.
Right. Now, in Beltran's case, he got the cortisone shot today. He feels as though he'll be able to play by Friday. Are you confident of that, or do you think there's at least a small possibility that it might go further than that and that you might have to DL him?
You're never confident when a shot is given, because you hope that the shot takes effect. So you want to say, hey, look, there's a good chance of this. But that being said, if you have to, with premium players like that, you want to be conservative. You want to be able to give them the chance for whatever the shot, the medicine goes into play. But you hope that it does. But if it doesn't, you have to give it. If you have to give it another day, give it another day.
Omar, is it ever contingent on wins and losses? Let's say that you have an athlete who's sitting out and trying to take 2 or 3 days off. What if your team runs the table and is winning every single game? Can you say to yourself, you know what, let's give him one more day. It gives us another chance for him to get even healthier.
A little bit of it. It all depends on what time of the year it is. It all depends. At the end of the day, what you have to do is you have to always protect the health of the athlete. That's the number one thing. The athlete himself will tell you, hey, I want to go. And even if he tells you I want to go, there was a situation that, players will say, I want to go, but you say, hey, you know what, let's give it another day. You always have to protect the athlete.
Well, let's talk about the silver lining in all this, which is that Met fans for the first time get a chance to see a guy they've heard a lot about, Fernando Martinez, a guy who's been held back a little bit by injuries the last few years, as the double play grounder hit to short by Willingham. That'll end the inning. 6-4-3 double play. Hang with us, Omar.
I'm with you
about it in the next half inning. So Livan Hernandez through 4 innings has held the Nats off the scoreboard. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 3-0 New York. here. Let's check out our Aflac trivia question. Who's the only player to win 3 or more batting titles and retire with a lifetime average under 300?
Wow. I think
wow, you asking me that question?
I think it's stumping all 3 of us right now.
Well, the truck, Omar, we got every question the first week, and then we got bitter, so every question's tougher now.
They've gotten much tougher. As Ramon Martinez leads off the bottom of the 4th. Right before the break, we were asking about Fernando Martinez. The kid's obviously been set back a little bit the last few years. Hasn't played as many games as he'd like.
Right.
But what do we have a right to expect now from a 20-year-old Fernando Martinez as he comes up to the big leagues?
You know, I think what you're going to expect for is for a 20-year-old, a sound baseball player. I don't think you're going to see a kid, what you're going to see is a kid that's going to be able to run fairly average, is going to be able to throw fairly average, going to feel fairly average. I think he's going to use what you're going to see for a 20-year-old. You're going to see a kid that drives the ball to left center, drives the ball to the gap with some authority. I think you're going to see a well-rounded, sound baseball player, even though he hasn't played, as you said, as many games as we would like to see him play because of injuries. But the fact that he's gone out there and play a winner ball, and then what I think that you're going to see as time goes by, a kid who's going to evolve into a power hitter. I think right now you're going to see a guy who's going to hit close to the 300. Whether he does that at the major league right now, we don't know that. But you're seeing a sound 20-year-old kid. That's what you're going to look at right now. And I will tell you, you will see some bombs along the way. He'll show you his power because he's going to hit some home runs. People are going to go, wow. And it's not going to be there every at-bat, but it's good enough to say, hey, it's there, it's going to happen. It's going to happen more consistent as more he plays.
And that's throughout the organization. You want your players to learn how to hit for average first and then develop the power.
And that's what, Tony Bernazar and Adam Wogan and that group is trying to teach the guys. You're trying to teach to be a hitter first. Slugger you'll become a slugger later, but you got to learn how to hit. You got to learn how to be a hitter. And he will be aggressive, like most young kids will be aggressive early on, and that's what that's what you want. They're going to do that. They're going to be overswing. They're going to make mistakes. You're just going to have to kind of ride that train for a while with them.
And we've seen a little bit of that, I guess, for Buffalo the last month. He had 7 home runs in May before you called him up. So you've started to see that power a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I was talking to a scout today, and one thing, scouts talk among themselves. And one thing, the word is that he's probably one of the best or the best position player in that international league right now. And he's 20 years old, remembering that the other guys in that league are 25 to 30 years old. And he stands out as far as from a scout standpoint as one of the better or the best position player in the international league.
Well, Omar would be remiss. Tell us a little bit about Wilson Valdez, we've also brought over.
Yeah, Wilson Valdez is, as we know, he's a journeyman infielder, AAA most of his career. A good feel, good run, can do certain things. I just felt that we needed to have that right now with Ramon, who's Martinez, who's doing a very good job, understanding that Ramon really didn't have a lot of spring training. But that being said, we need to have a guy just to come in there, and I think we've got to give Castillo a little bit of break. We've got to play some defense, especially with our pitching. And I thought until good news on Cora. Cora through today, feeling much better. Hopefully by next week, if we can get through this period and have Cora and Reyes back, and then have these two guys fill in that gap up until we do that, we'll be fine. And I think this kid right now, Valdez, will just stabilize the infield.
Yeah, it's funny, Omar. You talked for 7 weeks during spring training about how you're going to construct your club, and then over the first 2 months of the season, you just have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I say, Gary. I just always feel that it's funny, we get all caught up on opening day on what the team is going to be, who's going to be the 25 guys. I just sit there and laugh and say to myself, you know what? Forget about the 25. Let's talk about the 40 guys, the 35 guys we're going to need to get through the season.
See, we always use magic marker. You use pencil.
Let me ask you one more, Omar. Are you in the market at this point for a first baseman if one becomes available?
Well, right now we are going to allow. Look, the plan has always been that this winter we were going to have Dan Murphy play first base. He was going to go to winter ball and play first base. We were going to see that. So the plan has been that we're going to give Tatis, we're going to give Murphy an opportunity. Let's see how they perform. If they perform well, we're happy, and we think they will perform. It's going to be tough to replace Delgado. If they don't, then we'll be in the market for one.
Omar, thank you so much for spending the time with us and bringing us all up to date on a tumultuous day for the Mets. Omar Minaya, everybody. Mets with a 3-0 lead over the Nats as we head to the 5th inning at Citi Field. Yes, Al Kaline.
Oh, that's right, because he hit 340 his first year. He didn't have 3 batting titles, though, did he?
I don't think so. Oh, there you go. Yaz. I didn't realize Yaz had won 3. I remember 68. He had 301 in the American League. Yeah.
But he had the Triple Crown in 67, right. So that's 2.
Willie Harris grounds one down to Tatis. Levon gets over to cover. 1 pitch and 1 out in the top of the 5th. So there had to be 1 other batting title in there for Yaz.
You might not be allowed across the border for not knowing that answer.
No, you weren't supposed to remember, if you were a Red Sox partisan, that Yaz didn't hit 300 for his career.
That's right, exactly.
What I remember about Yaz from when I was a little kid, when he won the Triple Crown in '67, they came out with Yaz bread.
Yeah, they did.
And we had to have Yaz bread. I mean, even though we weren't Red Sox fans, it was just so cool that there was a bread named after Yaz. Bard drives one to left center field. That's up the gap, and it'll go to the wall. And Josh Bard pulling into second base with a 1-out double. His 3rd extra base hit of the season. Well, there are some of the particulars on Carl Yastrzemski. Triple Crown in '67.
We're down the stretch. It seemed every day he got a big hit. That Yaz bread made by Nissan. Because we had it in our house too.
By the way, that Triple Crown in '67 for Yaz, which is the last one in the major leagues, has a small asterisk. He tied for the home run title with Harmon Killebrew that year. The last Triple Crown where there was no tie was Frank Robinson the year before in '66 for the Orioles. The last Triple Crown in the National League, 1934. Wow. Joe Medley. Wow. Not too many guys have come close since. Of course, Triple Crown leading the league in average home runs and RBIs. Gary Sheffield made a pretty good run at it in 1992, I want to say, with the Padres. He led the league in hitting that year and was close in homers and RBIs.
I think Pujols is the guy that you look to that could do it all.
Right. Anderson Hernandez singled to center his first time up. Bard at second and 1 out. To shortstop, that will not move the runner. And Ramon Martinez throws out Anderson Hernandez for the second out. And that'll leave it to the pitcher, Stanton. Well, tomorrow night, Mets will get their second look at Jordan Zimmerman, and Johan Santana will take the Citi Field mound. And a rough go of it in San Francisco on the road trip. Pitched better in LA, and then we'll go back to the home mound tomorrow night, where he has been so dominant this season. Stammen sacrificed his first time, looking for his first big league hit.
Stammen looks like he knows what he's doing up there. Sometimes just by a pitcher's stance. He's confident.
Takes a rip, and it's 1-1.
Or maybe all pitchers look confident until they swing the bat.
I was going to say, sometimes the stance will belie the swing. Very low pitch count for Levon tonight, as he looks to work a little deeper. Went 7 innings in his last start, a season high. 1-2 to Stammen. In fact, 7 innings is the season high for the staff.
Well, I told you before, he's over 2,600 innings now with this outing. 45 complete games in his career for Livan Hernandez.
1-2. Grounded toward the middle. Castillo can't knock it down. Bart is slow. He's going to try and score. Pagan with the throw. And Santos reaches, can't hit him. Now he does, and he's out. The second try by Santos got Bard, who had missed home plate after Santos missed the tag. But Santos stayed on him, and Bard is out at the plate.
Well, good throw by Pagan. Missed the base here by Bard. Tries to go back and never gets to the dish. Nice tag by Santos.
Got the hand right before the hand got the plate. Board thanks to this play, your Coors Light Freeze Cam.
His palm is on the ground, but his fingers are in the air as Santos applies the tag.
That is a great shot, guys. That is tremendous work. Bard, who had missed the plate, and Santos missed the tag, so they both kept going, and Santos just got him before those fingers fell on the plate.
And you can't really put it all on Bard. The reason he missed the plate with his initial slide is he had to avoid the bat that was in the batter's box. You can see it in the back of the picture.
That's 2 nights in a row we've seen that. When Beltran tried to score in the first inning last night, David Wright had not removed the bat as the on-deck hitter. This time, Christian Guzman, the guilty party, the on-deck hitter, didn't move the bat.
Just think of it as litter. You always pick it up, right?
Filthy basket. David is 1 for 2, and he takes a curveball from Stammen in for a strike. Well, Craig Stammen will never forget his first big league hit.
He won't. It was interesting, though, because Bard, of course, does not run that well. That's strike 1 for Pat Listash, the third base coach. 2, the pitcher's up. So, of course, the outfield's playing exponentially in 3, 4, 5 steps in. Makes it easier throw for Pagan. And then third, of course, 3-0. So, that was taking a chance there by Pat, and it didn't work out.
0-2 to right, and David lays off. How about this? After that tag was made, did Stammen get the baseball? It's his first big league hit.
Wow, good call.
In the dirt with a curveball, 2-2. By the way, we were talking about Gary Sheffield's run at the Triple Crown in '92 with the Padres. He led the league in batting, finished 5th in RBIs and 3rd in home runs. Swing and a miss, and Wright is struck out. That's the 2nd of the night for Craig Stammen.
Well, again, this is last night. David Wright telling Beltran to slide, but he can't because the bat's there, so he has to kind of step over it. And that caused an out. And tonight, Barton wants to go straight and try to beat that tag, but he's got to go around the bat and then try to reach back. And that cost him an out, and the Nats a run.
Look at these guys clean their rooms.
That's right.
Here's Sheffield, and he takes a strike. Sheffield is lined to center and walk.
Umpire is wants to call him safe, but then he sees that his hand never gets there.
Sheffield turns one around, foul. Dan Iasonia, the home plate umpire, making that call.
He's had a nice game tonight behind the plate so far as Iasonia.
Stammen ahead on Sheffield 0-2. He goes up and away. We have the final pitching line tonight for Oliver Perez, working for Buffalo in his first rehab start. And it was an Ollie-like line. There it is. 1 run, 3 hits, but 5 walks to go with 5 strikeouts. 88 pitches and 4 1/3. So the road back will continue.
The 2 things you don't like there, the 5 walks are the obvious, but the 88 pitches is not very good in 4 1/3 innings.
Not quite David Price last night for Tampa Bay, but still. Price threw 100 pitches in 3 1/3 last night. Left with a 10-2 lead. 3-2 to Sheffield. Grounded down to third. Tough hop, and Zimmerman can't make the play. A wicked hop, and Zimmerman was not equal to it, and Sheffield's aboard.
Well, no man's land here for Zimmerman. This ball hit awfully hard, top spin, and he had only one option. The option was to come in and try to block it and keep it in front of him, but he took a little wicked hop and went to his left. Could not make that play.
It'll be scored an error on Zimmerman. That's a tough error. Tatis hits a foul ball, foul just outside the bag. For Ryan Zimmerman, that's his 7th error of the year. And for the Nationals, they're 46th, which is by far the most in the major leagues. We were talking about the Nationals offense. Their problems: most errors, most walks allowed, most hits allowed, most runs allowed, most wild pitches thrown. So you can score as many runs as you want. If you can't pitch it and you can't catch it, it's hard to win.
Very few teams in the history of the game can just outslug you. Because hitting goes into slumps, and you need those pitchers to pitch those close games.
Tatis drives one to center field, but Harris is there for the 2nd out. Well, it sounded good coming off the bat.
We've seen a couple already. Sheffield's ball too, the left center, just dying out there in this cold weather.
Well, here's Fernando Martinez and what he's done so far in his first big league game.
That one hit awfully hard, and his speed gets a fielder's choice and an RBI.
So the 20-year-old is 0 for 2, but he does have his first major league run batted in. Now he bats with 2 out and a runner at first in the 5th, with the Mets up 3-0. And he takes a curveball for a strike. Mets signed Fernando as a 16-year-old in 2005. He got a $1.4 million signing bonus as a 16-year-old Dominican free agent. This is one foul. There was a big bidding war, and in fact, Fernando was offered more money by several teams, but opted to sign with the Mets. That was one of those deals where maybe the signing of Pedro Martinez paid dividends. Inside, and Martinez Fernando shakes it off and goes down to first.
Well, his first at bat, it was struck out with a pitch up and in. Stammen tries to do it again. This time rushes it a little closer in, and it looks like he gets him right on the back of the right elbow. Yeah, that one's going to sting for a while.
So 2 out and 2 on. Now Omir Santos, who doubled and scored in the second, fouled out in the third. An error and a hit batsman have put 2 runners aboard. Stammen about to throw his 92nd pitch, and Santos fouls it off.
I don't know about you, Gary, but even though his pitch count is up, I think Stammen has some serious ability. He's got to keep the ball down, but he's gone right after the hitters. This hasn't become a walk fest like last night's ball game.
You have to like his aggressiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, even with hitters like Wright and Sheffield, he's come right after them.
And as his secondary pitches kind of evolve, he'll get more ground balls.
What would be interesting would be to see him pitch against a lineup with more accomplished left-handed bats. Mets are a predominantly right-handed team in this game, with no Beltran, no Delgado, no Reyes.
Takes the circle change-up grip and then changes it once he gets it in the glove.
0-2 to Santos. Bounce slowly. Zimmerman in to grab it. Gets the unassisted force play to end the inning. 5 in the books at Citi Field. 3-0 New York. Periodically on these broadcasts about the Mets uniform and the way it's evolved over the years. Well, Kevin Burkhardt's done a little studying up, and he presents this pictorial display. Kevin?
Yeah, I know you guys are wondering where I was. I was playing wardrobe all morning, so this has been my day. Let me take you around. You know, it's fun. We do always talk about the uniforms, so I thought it would be kind of nice to have a little visual display and tell you a little bit about them and the history of them. And the Mets road uniforms have changed a little bit more than their home uniforms have, but I have the home uniforms arranged here by decade. So we'll go down the line. We start with the Eddie Charles number here from 1969, the glider. And basically the Mets home unis from 65 through 77 were the same. 65 was the first year they put the numbers on the front under the Mets script. And these were the old Wolk kind right here. So you know, these were heavy, these were itchy, these were scratchy. And again, that remained the same till about 1977. As we walk down the line here, we go into the 70s, guys, with the Craig Swan model here, number 27. In 78 was the first year the Mets really changed here as the Nationals lead off the sixth with a single by Guzman. First of all, they went to a double knit cotton from the wool. As we take a shot here, this is a double knit cotton. So the first year they weren't without wool. Also, no more buttons all the way down. Just a 2-button pullover in 1978. That's what changed there. Then, of course, you have the stripes, the orange and blue around the neck, the orange and blue around the sleeve here. That was the biggest difference as you went into the late 70s and 78. Bring into the 80s, Ronnie. You could certainly comment about these. And Keith's favorite, the orange and blue piping. Down this. This actually happened in '83. That's when they made the switch to the piping, and also the V-neck pullover. No buttons on these. I mean, you still have the Mets script in front. You still have the numbers. That's been consistent, but a pullover, no buttons at all, which is certainly the biggest difference on these. And then this one from '86 when they have the 25th year anniversary with a patch on the sleeve. As Levon works now to Nick Johnson. Take a look at the patch here. That was '86, the 25th anniversary. And, of course, I think something else good happened that year. Not sure. We move on down the line, guys. We go into the 90s, and we have the Mike Piazza version here. And 92, the first year they went back to the full buttons here. So they went from 77 to 92 without buttons all the way down, which is kind of amazing. Nice little play by Ramon Martinez. The turn, 6-4-3 double play by the Mets. Nicely done. And then let's take a look at where we are now with the Mets. They have something, guys, that's called cool base. And last year was the first year that all the Mets sets were done in this cool base. It's incredibly light. You could stretch it. You could pull through it. It absorbs sweat incredibly. It's kind of, honestly, it's like wearing a mesh tank top. That's how light it is. And really the concern with these is that when Charlie Samuels was ordering these, it's so light, there was concern whether or not the material would actually hold up the weight of the letters and the numbers. So that's what they use now, and it's just tremendous in the hot weather. This one does not have a number on the front. The Mets uniforms now do. This is just a generic one with no name on the back. But other than that, those are the biggest differences. Obviously, the material, the stripes, the orange and blue piping, which came in '78 and lasted into the 90s. And as we take a look down the line, even though there are the subtle differences, guys, the home uniforms especially, it's pretty true. You have the scripted Mets across. To me, the biggest difference was the buttons. I didn't realize they went that long from 78 to 92 without buttons all the way down the front. So for me, that's the thing that stands out. And now, what a difference on feel. Ronnie, you could comment on what you wore, but I mean the difference in heaviness of that shirt compared to how incredibly light and agile this is now. It's not even a contest.
Well, it's pretty funny. I'm old enough that when I played in high school, I wore woolen uniforms, and I was taught very early by someone smarter than I that we used to wear long johns under the uniforms, woolen uniforms. One, because it would stop them from being so itchy, and two, you really did keep cooler with long johns on with the wool uniforms.
As Levon strikes out Ryan Zimmerman to end the inning. Third strikeout for Levon. 6 shutout innings for Levon Hernandez against his old team. Mets uniforms through the years. No names on the back in 2000. Remember that? for the Nationals. We talked a lot about the uniforms, and there's more to a uniform than just the outer part of the uniform.
Well, really, it's the undershirts were the most amazing thing and the most important for a pitcher, because in the early days, Ed Charles's days, and I have a few of those shirts still around, the undershirts were woolen too, with kind of a really tight arms that would get incredibly heavy and wet, that you'd have to change them 2 or 3 times in a game. And now it's evolved all the way, of course, to these beautiful Under Armour garments that are as light can be. You can see it on the players. It's very stretchy over their arms and their forearms, and it's just as cool as can be, although you wouldn't need it in tonight's game because it's cool outside. You know, I will say one thing about the uniforms we had in the 80s. They were so tight one year. I'll never forget, Charlie ordered them, and they were all the sizes they were supposed to be.
As Ramon Martinez posts one to the left, and Willingham has it one out.
But for whatever reason, that year, the material was just so tight and taut around your body that you would come to the Mets clubhouse, and the most important piece of equipment in the Mets clubhouse was a trash can that we'd all take the jerseys and slip it over the trash can so it would loosen up before we went out and played that day. Can you imagine?
Just so you know, you weren't the first Mets to wear tight uniforms. You know, Maz played in the late 70s.
That's right. That's right.
There's Ronnie in that 80s style uniform with the V-neck.
Pretty funny. That's from the World Series, because I never, ever wore a turtleneck pitching except for the World Series. That's how cold it was.
And people see that shot all the time and figure that you always wore it.
That's right.
Hey, Ronnie, you know, you're talking about that, too, and I find that interesting because I don't remember, Charlie, what he exactly said, but the double knit process, as Guzman will have a chance here, and there's 2 away. The double knit process, something about the way it's done, these are hard to stretch, and, you know, if I grab it, I mean, it's not exactly easy to really pull apart, so I'd imagine that garbage can had its work cut out for it.
Well, we had Bruce Perenni, who had a pretty good-sized neck, and he used to have to take some time to get that uniform, that V-neck, over his neck.
Of course, stretching still occurs these days, now mostly with the pants.
Yes.
Guys want to wear their pants as long as possible. They'll take the elastic out at the bottom of the uniform pants and then stretch them so they're as long as possible, and sometimes go even under their feet, as you can see with Angel Pagan as he takes a strike.
Well, we had the 70s and 80s. Those are tight clothes then, Gary. This is more of the hip-hop culture, a little lighter.
Look how long those pants are. I mean, you're not supposed to wear them under your shoe anymore, but those are about as close as you can get.
They are under his shoe. It's almost like they're clipped onto the spike on the back.
I believe that's a technical uniform violation.
This is not the NFL, Gary.
It's not the No Fun League. Pagan having a good night. He's 2 for 3. He's stolen a base. He's scored a run. Mets with a 3-0 lead as they bat in the 6th. 2 out and nobody on, and Pagan fouls it off. Luis Castillo on deck.
That's a nice shot of that bat. I picked up Livan Hernandez's bat today. I hope he's not angry. He's going to hear this now. Just want to see what kind of bat he uses. He uses a C271, and all the Louisville bats have a letter with a number that tells you what kind of bat style it is. And the other person I knew on our team that used the C271 was Keith Hernandez. That was his bat.
So all the Hernandezes use the same bat?
Yes, that's right. There's an M343. That's more on the thicker side. I used to use a P89, which was a very thin handle for those days, and a thicker top of the bat.
2-2 to Pagan.
Now the newer bats, I have no idea.
Well, most of them are very thin in the handle now. And Bergman goes to a full count. Jason Bergman faced one batter in the game last night and got Fernando Tatis into a forced play in the 7th inning. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat to Pagan. And it's in there for a call, strike 3. So Bergman gets Pagan looking at the breaking ball, and the Mets are out 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 6th. Livan Hernandez back to the mound for the 7th. He's pitching brilliantly tonight. He's got himself a 3-0 lead. Flying in from the days of the flannel uniform, you saw Don Clendenin and Wayne Garrett, Tug McGraw, Buddy Harrelson on the Mets plane back in 1970.
Music and cards are a big staple of any Major League Baseball flight.
I might add that was voiced over by Lindsey Nelson, who would have celebrated his 90th birthday yesterday.
Wow.
Livan Hernandez having himself quite a night. Adam Dunn, who has singled and walked tonight, takes ball one. Livan had thrown to 71 pitches through 6 innings, a very low pitch count for him. The action continues out in center field.
This just looks like world's funniest videos waiting to happen at some point. Someone's going to get hit in the noggin.
Dunn lifts one to left field, deep toward the corner, looking up is Sheffield, and it's out of here. Adam Dunn with an opposite field home run, his 15th of the year, and that breaks up the shutout. It's now 3-1 New York. It's only the second opposite field home run to be hit here at Citi Field. Nick Johnson hit one in the Nats' first series here, and now Dunn does the trick. His 1,001st big league hit is a home run.
He just makes ballparks look tiny. When he gets the head of the bat on the ball, that's not an awful pitch. Yes, he wanted it inside, but it ended up out. And he just went with it and just drives that ball 370 feet, 60 feet.
So now it's a 3-1 ball game. Here's Josh Willingham, and he swings and misses at a slider.
Watch, O'Meara wants his pitch inside IOTV pitch differential, and that ball drifts almost the whole width of the plate.
7th home run that Livan has given up this year. This is his 9th start. And Willingham takes it off the plate. It's 1-1. Willingham has singled to right center and grounded into a double play, 1 for 2. Mets have turned 3 double plays behind Livan tonight. Bobby Parnell quickly up in the Mets bullpen.
Livan missing with a couple pitches. I'll tell you, when you are going and everything is so easy, you got 6 shutout innings, when someone takes you deep like that, it almost shocks you. You can't even believe it happened because everything's been going your way.
Dunn off to a terrific home run start this year. There's a strike, and it's 2-2. I mean, Dunn was a 40 home run a year guy in Cincinnati, and people figured his numbers would go down playing in a more spacious ballpark in Washington, or for that matter here. But he's got 15 home runs in a little over a quarter of a season. It's quite a start. 40 RBIs now for Dunn. 3rd in the league. 2-2 to Willingham. Slow curve got him. 63 miles an hour on that Bugs Bunny curveball. 4th strikeout for Livan. 1 away.
Nice pitch from Livan Hernandez. Sliders away and then came back with this slow curveball that just kept breaking. Just under the bat. Beat him 2 ways. Beat him with the break of that. See the grip of that curveball. And also beat him with the speed differential. Took a lot off that curve.
But it's 1 3 times. 1, 2, 3 strikes are out. 1, 2, 3 strikes are out. That's how it worked for Bugs. Here's Willie Harris, who's 0 for 2. Harris grounded into a double play and bounced out to first. And he takes a strike. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Kevin Burkhardt, and our entire SNY crew. Pleased to have you with us from Citi Field. Mets and Nats playing the second of a 3-game series. Mets got a run in the second and 2 in the third. And lead behind Livan Hernandez, 3-1 in the 7th. A busy day for the Mets on many fronts, with Jose Reyes and Ryan Church going on the disabled list. Carlos Beltran receiving a cortisone shot just below his knee. He'll miss a couple of games. That's calling up their #1 prospect, Fernando Martinez, who's playing tonight and already has his first big league RBI.
Just a little off here in this inning by Livan. Just missing his spots just a little bit, especially that pitch inside to the lefties where he had it dialed in the first 6 innings. Missed on Dunn, caused him a home run. Just missed on Harris there, and a good cut by Willie. Yeah, he wants it back in there again. Good choice.
This just inside, 2-2. Kip Wells, who was very impressive in his inning of work last night up in the Washington bullpen. Right now, if you give Manny Acta one good inning, you're going to get a lot of work. That bullpen has been so beleaguered this year. Worst bullpen numbers in the majors in terms of ERA and blown saves. 2-2 to Harris. Another slow curveball, and this one popped up to Castillo for the second out. So Levon bouncing back after the Adam Dunn home run to get the next two. And that'll bring up Josh Bard, who had a chance to score the first Washington run after doubling in the fifth. The pitcher Craig Stammen singled to center for his first big league hit. Bard tried to score, got around the tag attempt by Omir Santos. They both made a dive for the plate, and Santos got him on the hand right before Bard was about to slap the plate. Quite a play all the way around. And you know, we didn't really mention, because of the way the play finished, the terrific throw from center field by Angel Pagan.
Don't forget, people, he had surgery on his elbow in March.
And a bone spur in that elbow. I was just thinking of the last time that Angel played center field for the Mets. It was that May series in Los Angeles last year. He started in center field one game. And I'm thinking if the Mets had left him there for the rest of that series, he wouldn't have gotten hurt.
That's right. He got hurt when he went to left field and dove into the stands to make that great catch.
Hurt his left shoulder. Missed substantially the rest of the year after a couple of abortive tries to come back. And there's that slow curve Levon has unsheathed here in the seventh inning, and it's looking good. 1-2.
Well, I've never seen him double up on the slow curve. That one's a little harder one. I don't know if he'll double up with the super slow mo.
I don't know if he can get as slow as his brother Orlando used to. He used to throw at 55. Fastball popped up in foul ground, right with a long way to run, and beyond his reach. Trying to finish the seventh inning for his second straight start. He allowed 1 run and 7 hits over 7 innings in LA. He's allowed 1 run and 7 hits over 6 2/3 tonight. Two and two now to Bard.
That was just a show me pitch. Very interesting watching Levon pitch. Teaching the young Santos how to call a game with 4 or 5 pitches. Santos had to go to the 4th sign, which is fastball away. You would think that could set up 2 pitches. Fastball in or that slow curveball, either one. Always going to go back out there.
2-2. Fouled away.
Fastest fastball he's thrown tonight, 87 miles an hour.
Anderson Hernandez on deck. Adam Dunn's home run has gotten the Nats on the board here in the 7th. Levon trying to finish him off right there. How's foul? Levon Hernandez spent 4 seasons pitching for the Expos and Nationals. In those 4 years, he won 50 games, which was more than twice as many as anybody else during that span for that franchise. In fact, second on that list with 24 wins was Luis Ayala, a relief pitcher. That's how important he was for the Expos and Nationals. 2-2 to Bard. Lifted to left. Sheffield right there waiting for it. Side retired. So Levon bounces back after the home run and gets the next 3 hitters. Adam Dunn becomes just the 2nd player in Citi Field history to hit an opposite field home run, and both of them have been Washington Nationals. Dunn's 15th of the year. 7th inning stretch time. Mets 3, Nationals 1. Foundation Teammates in the Community fundraiser presented by Gatorade. To be part of this exclusive evening, go to MetsFoundation.org or call 718-803-4074 for your tickets. And it'll be quite the extravaganza at Richards in Greenwich.
You know, the Mets do so many great things for charity, but this one is so fan friendly. You can mingle and hang out with all the players. Also, you can have Strawberry there, Seaver, Staub, Franco, all the former greats. Look at Danny Wortham even cleaning the spikes. We love it. That's what happens when you only give up 1 run in 7 innings. Give up 7 innings, it doesn't even talk to you.
Well, it appears as though Livan is going back out there for the 8th inning. And, folks, this is a major event. This is the Mets' 46th game of the season. And if Livan Hernandez starts the 8th inning, he'll become the first Mets starter this year to throw a pitch in the 8th.
Well, I mentioned that stat before. He has 45 complete games in his career. See some mime throwing by Brian Stokes.
3-2 to Castillo. David Wright on deck, and then Gary Sheffield. By the way, there's been a scoring change back in the 5th inning. Sheffield's hard smash to Zimmerman has been changed to a hit. Castillo up the middle. Guzman with a nice spinning stop to throw, not in time. Boy, a spectacular play by Guzman, but Castillo with the speed to beat it out.
Well, nice play up the middle. The one that eluded him for that double play by Tatis. This time he gets the glove down. Right in the webbing of that glove with the slide. And didn't get as much on the throw. You see the grip, 2 seams there. That ball's going to run away a little from the first baseman and down, which it did. Nick Johnson with a nice scoop.
So now David Wright, 1 for 3, and he takes a strike. David singled and stole a base back in the first, lined out to right in the 3rd, and struck out in the 5th. As the lefty Ron Vallone, who was with the Mets in spring training, gets up in the Nats bullpen. He's been great so far for Washington. 1-1 to Wright.
And to put to Livan's number in perspective, 45 complete games. Johan Santana has 9. So it tells you he's used to being there late in the game.
Well, there was a time when Livan, when nobody else was doing it, was throwing 130, 140 pitches a game. Wright hooks one through the hole, a base hit. And David has his 2nd hit of the night. So the Mets have the first 2 men on against Jason Bergman in the 7th. Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. Johan Santana tomorrow night against Jordan Zimmerman in the final game of this series. And then after a day off, the Marlins are in for 3. Then the Mets go to Pittsburgh and Washington, a 2-week stretch for the Mets to try and fatten up against some of the lower teams. As Kip Wells gets up again to the Washington bullpen. And remember, if you're in the car, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. So Sheffield, now having gotten credit for a base hit in the 5th inning, is 1 for 2 on the night. He's also lined out and walked. So he's hit 2 balls very hard tonight. 2 on and nobody out. And he takes the breaking ball outside for ball 1. Sheffield playing just about every day right now, and I guess the question is how long the Mets can afford to do that with Gary. Curveball in for a strike.
We have a nice natural break for him on Thursday, so if he starts tomorrow night, he's got an off day on Thursday, come back on Friday night, and maybe get an off day on Saturday at the day game.
Or would you consider sitting him tomorrow and giving him 2 days off, refreshing him for the weekend? 1-1. Lock it to left field. Back goes Willingham, looking up, and it's out of here! Gary Sheffield with a 3-run homer for the 2nd straight night. A bullet. Fifth home run of the year for Sheffield, and it's 6-1 New York. What a shot.
Well, you mentioned 1992 when he threatened for the Triple Crown. Well, this is vintage 1992 by Gary Sheffield. The ability to go down and get that baseball, and consistently throughout his career, No one's hit the ball any harder.
That one goes over the head of Tatis, and Bergman has just been warned. Both dugouts will be warned as well, as Bergman had one slip, apparently.
Maniac is laughing. You don't even take that seriously. Dan Iassogna, there's no way he should call that. It's a breaking ball that Bergman missed.
Clearly a ball that slipped out of his hand, and Iassogna reacting immediately.
But on the umpire's behalf, the umpires in Major League Baseball are commanded that if anything comes close to the hitter after a home run has been hit, that they have to, directed to give a warning to each team. So it's a shame that they make them do that.
It's a 76-mile-an-hour curveball.
Silliness.
It's just ridiculous. Tatis is 1 for 3 tonight. He takes high 2-0.
You know what we need now? That IOTV pitch differential. That's below where the catcher wanted it.
A rare time when a positive result for the hitter is from a lower pitch. That one in tight, and Tatis is hit. Now, according to the warning, Bergman and Maniac should be thrown out of the game, right? I mean, he came inside after the warning. That's what's so silly about these rules. If they're going to be, hard and fast. He called a warning on a curveball over his head.
Maybe that was a do-over. He figured maybe he got the curveball wrong, so giving the pitcher another chance.
Well, that's why the whole thing is silly.
Of course.
And that's why the whole thing about issuing the warning on the first pitch was absurd.
Supposed to be a fastball away. Just clips the tricep of Fernando Tatis. Sandy knows the rule. He's got to go.
Got to throw him out, right? Well, Bergman's coming out of the game anyway. If they had thrown Bergman out, they would have had to throw Acta out as well. But Bergman will simply leave, and Manny will stay around. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. Sheffield's 3-run homer has made it 6-1 Mets. Well, Johan Santana coming off that gutty performance in Boston his last time out. We'll go back to the Citi Field mound tomorrow night in the final game of this 3-game series. 6:30 the coverage on SNY. It's amazing the turn that the Mets have taken since that last Santana start on Friday night.
Chip Wells pitched a 1-2-3 inning in last night's ball game. It's funny to see Santana when he's on the bench and he's got that nice smile and that impish look. And the last time we saw him, he was screaming at Kevin Youkilis. So there's two parts to that talented left-hander.
There's Fernando Martinez, 0 for 2 in his big league debut. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. Fernando started off by striking out in the second inning, drove in a run with a fielder's choice in the third, and then got plunked on the right arm by a pitch in the fifth. Nobody out here in the seventh. 3 runs home on the Sheffield home run. Tatis at first. And a big hack by Martinez. It's 0-2. Fernando was hitting .291 at Buffalo when he was called up.
Good changeup from Kip Wells, who has all the pitches.
He's had a strange career.
He has. He's too good to have the career he's had, but injuries have befallen him.
And he strikes out Fernando Martinez on 3 pitches for the first out of the inning. When you ask for the IOTV pitch differential, Ronnie, and the Cruise supplies.
Ask and I will receive. Look at how low this pitch is. Just above the shoe tops, probably a foot lower than the catcher Bard wanted it. And I have to say that I don't think there's anyone in baseball, right-handed hitter, that hits that ball for a home run.
I'll give you one.
Who?
Vladimir Guerrero.
There you go. You're right. You're right.
Omar Santos takes a strike. Back in the day, Roberto Clemente might have, but there aren't many.
No. That pitch traditionally is a ground ball between third and short at best.
Sheffield with that 3-run homer now has 9 RBIs in the last 5 games. Santos grounds one to third. Zimmerman, the sidearm toss to second for the out, and the turn for the double play by Anderson Hernandez. Nicely done by the Nats. 5-4-3 to end the inning. But Sheffield's second 2-run homer in 2 nights has extended the Met lead. Mark your calendars. Livan Hernandez going where no Met starter has gone before in 2009. They'll face Anderson Hernandez leading off in the 8th inning. Between innings, Jerry Manuel was out to argue a call at second base, and well, it may be that Anderson Hernandez didn't quite make the force at second in the middle of that double play.
Well, they call it the old neighborhood play. Nice play by Zimmerman, but the throw brings Anderson closer to the ball, and it's supposed to be the neighborhood play, but that's not Flushing. That's more like Astoria, because he comes off that bag 3 or 4 steps.
It's the nowhere in the neighborhood play. That was not even close. Adrian Johnson, the second base umpire.
And you say to yourself, you know, why would Jerry go out there? The score is 6-1. Well, it's important that he lets Adrian Johnson know that in the future there might be a similar play in a closer game, that he doesn't want to take that play for granted.
In there for a call strike 3. Anderson Hernandez down looking. 5 strikeouts for Livan Hernandez. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He's standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. All right, Chris. Now Levon Hernandez works to Justin Maxwell, pinch hitting for Kip Wells, and he takes ball 1. Just going back to that call at second base and say, well, it's a 6-1 game. You know, you should only make that call if the Nationals are going to say, well, we're going to stop trying to score.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, 6-1, game's not over. Maxwell's hit by a pitch. As Levon coming inside after Tatis got hit in the last inning.
It's really the first ball he's thrown inside to a right-hander all night. Clips the back of the leg of Maxwell.
So 1 out and 1 on. I mean, after what happened in Cleveland last night, is any game really over?
No. You know, I understand that play maybe being called in spring training when you get things going, but not here in a big league ball game.
Guzman is 1 for 3, struck out, flied out, and then singled to left his last time up. Just 3 hits in his last 20 at bats, and he drives one to right field. That's going to be over Pagan and into the Mo zone. Streaking for third is Maxwell. He'll be held up there, and pulling in at second is Guzman with a long double to right. And all of a sudden, the Nats have second and third and 1 out. 10th double of the year for Guzman.
There's nothing the young right fielder could do, even though he got turned around. No shot at making that play. Hit awfully hard off the bat of Guzman. And it will be time tested here as he tries to work the most difficult of outfields at Citi Field here, right field.
Bobby Parnell getting up now. Maxwell probably could have scored from first on that play, but the third base coach Pat Listach taking no chances with his team down by 5 runs. And Nick Johnson coming up. Meanwhile, Dan Warthen going out to see whether Levon Hernandez has much left. 98 pitches now for Levon. And Pedro Feliciano gets up as well with an eye toward Adam Dunn, 2 batters away. Get to Citi Field, the Mets' new home of Amazin', as the series with the Nationals concludes tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Great place, great seats, and a great time. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your print at home tickets now. So trouble has found Levon Hernandez in the 8th inning, second and third and 1 out. Nick Johnson's gone 0 for 3 tonight. 3 times has hit the ball on the ground. Once into a double play. Maxwell is at third and Guzman at second. The infield back happily conceding a run on a ground ball with a 6-1 lead. And Johnson swings and misses the changeup 1-1.
Johnson talking to himself. Never really see him swing at a pitch out of the strike zone, but that was a heck of a change up there by Levon Hernandez.
His 100th pitch of the night. Ryan Zimmerman, who's had a rough night at the plate, on deck. 1-1. Johnson takes up and in. 2-1. Levon has allowed 1 run and 8 hits. The only run, an Adam Dunn opposite field home run in the 7th. Parnell and Feliciano both appear to be ready. Johnson fouls it back, 2-2.
Levon needs a strikeout here. He got first hitter Hernandez with that fastball inside that comes back over the plate. Let's see if he goes back there against Nick Johnson.
Tired of waiting. Now the 2-2. Curveball hit in the air to center field. Not very deep. Pagan circling in. Maxwell tagging, but he's going to fake it and go on back. 2 out. So Nick Johnson can't get the run in against the Bugs Bunny curveball, and now they're 2 away.
Well, nice play by Angel, getting in a nice position to throw the baseball. Coming in, ready to throw. Throws it through the cutoff man. Tatis let it go, but still nice play by Pagan. And Justin Maxwell, who has all the speed in the world, but 6-1 score, you can't take a chance on getting thrown out at the plate. They've already seen Pagan throw Bard out.
So now 2 out, runners still at second and third, and now Ryan Zimmerman, who's reached base in 43 straight games. That streak in jeopardy. He's 0 for 3 tonight, a ground out and 2 strikeouts. A 43-game streak, the longest in franchise history in a single season. Off the plate, 2-0.
You know, we've been talking the last 2 days about the bat at the plate. Well, Omir Santos has been watching it. Watch him. Finally, someone who's neat on the team. Very nice, Omir. The toss of the bat.
Fly ball down the right field line, and that'll go foul. I mean, that ball was in the left-hand batter's box, so it would not have been in the way on a slide. If you're the catcher and it's in the batter's box where it is in the runner's way, you probably want to leave it.
Yeah, you want to leave it, but the one there, you have to pick it up because it might be under your feet, and you could trip on it yourself.
Two and 1 the count to Zimmerman. In the air to right field. Fernando Martinez there waiting for it. And Livan Hernandez becomes the first Met starter to go 8 innings in 2009. Works out of a jam in the 8th. 6-1 New York. With IOTV, by Lexus, by AT&T, your world delivered, by Corona, enjoy responsibly, by Citi, and by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. Livan Hernandez has a bat in his hand. He's due up second in the bottom of the 8th. Could it be a bid for a complete game tonight? He's thrown 107 pitches through 8 innings. That's a new season high for him. Ramon Martinez will lead off in the bottom of the 8th against the new Washington pitcher, Julian Tavares, the veteran. Martinez 1 for 3. He takes low and away, ball 1.
Julian Tavares started out pretty strong for the Nationals this year. Now has given up 13 hits and 12 runs in his last 11 games.
And there is Levant coming out on deck. He got a big hand when he came off at the end of the top of the 8th. Guzman plays the hop to his right. Low throw handled by Johnson, 1 away. And now Levant will come to bat. Takes ball 1. 0 for 3 at the plate tonight. But you know, anytime you're a pitcher and you get 4 at bats in a game, you've had a good night.
It's a good thing. Last complete game, of course, would be last season, the last Saturday of the season. Santana with that shutout.
And Hernandez will have a chance at 1 tonight. 2-1 to Levant. They'll have to face 4, 5, and 6 in the batting order. Dunn, Willingham, and Harris in order to pull it off. But it's refreshing, isn't it?
It's refreshing. It's also, I think, much needed for the bullpen. A night where you, well, it's not over with yet, but if you can get the complete game, a night where there's no mental anxiety out there. No one has to come in.
But they're so accustomed to getting up in the 8th. We saw guys out there pantomiming.
You got to throw them a treat once in a while.
Levant bounces 1 toward the hole, cut off by Zimmerman. And that's the second out of the inning. And yet another nice hand for Levant as he walks off. Fans are starved for complete games. I mean, complete games now are treated the way shutouts used to be.
Yeah.
Or, you know, a guy who pitches 12 innings.
Well, we just went past the anniversary, right, of the Harvey Haddix game, where he went 12 2/3.
50-year anniversary. 12 perfect innings before the Braves broke it up in the 13th.
Known more for losing that 1-0 game. Know a little bit about that.
Don takes high. Angel tonight 2 for 4. In fact, today is the 50th anniversary of the Harvey Haddix game in Milwaukee. Harvey Haddix, known as the Kitten, pitched 12 perfect innings. Then Joe Adcock hit one over the wall. That became a single because he passed Hank Aaron on the bases after Aaron had become the first man to reach. Taken low, ball 4, and Pagan's on with a 2-out walk. Don't forget to keep it tuned here after the game tonight for Lincoln Mercury post-game live with Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda. We'll hear from Levant Hernandez about his extraordinary performance tonight. We'll hear from Fernando Martinez on his first big league game, and from Gary Sheffield as well, I'm sure, about his 3-run homer for the 2nd straight night. Lincoln Mercury postgame live after all 162 Mets games right here on SNY. Luis Castillo takes a strike. There have been 15 complete games in the National League this season. There have been 22 in the American League.
Remember, a little skewed because in the American League you can have a complete game loss of 8 innings. You would never really see that in the National League.
Well, there's no imperative to bat for the pitcher in a close game. 2-2 to Castillo. We're talking about somewhere around 675 games played so far this year, 37 complete games. 3-2 now to Castillo. So it is still a relatively rare event. David Wright waits on deck. Castillo 1 for 3. The runner goes, and it's low and inside, ball 4. Back-to-back 2-out walks issued by Julian Tavares. And so David Wright will get another turn with 2 men on. David tonight is 2 for 4. He has singled twice. He's stolen a base. He's scored a run. The Phillies and Marlins have gone to the 9th in Philadelphia. The Phillies up 5-0. Joe Blanton pitching very well tonight. The Phillies trying to stay a half game in front of the Mets. So now right in against Tavares. And David takes a fastball for a strike. David is 3 for 4 in his career against Julian Tavares. Up and away, 1-1. It was Julian Tavares, wasn't it, who, after signing with the Nationals late this spring, said signing with the Nationals was like being in the bar at 4 in the morning and having no choice?
He did say that.
I would have voided his contract right there.
Knucklehead.
Yeah. Here's the 1-2. David takes in the dirt. It squirts behind Bard, and the runners move to second and third. Bard's done some good blocking tonight. Couldn't do it there.
Slotted here in the dirt. Tried to backhand by Bard. Those things sometimes happen late in games. He's been in that dirt all night long.
So 2 in scoring position for David. 2-2 the count. And he takes the fastball high, 3-2. Sheffield is standing on deck. He had a 3-run homer his last time up. So we'll see what David gets here with first base open and a 3-2 count. Tavares has walked 2 in a row. And Wright fouls it away. The 3-2 in there for a call, strike 3. Got him looking at the slider, and so Tavares gets right to end the inning. We head for the 9th, and Livan Hernandez tries to work a complete game. traffic. Tomorrow at 6:30 p.m., ace Johan Santana takes the mound as the Mets finish up their 3-game set against the Nationals here at Citi Field. Mets Nationals coverage begins tomorrow at 6:30 only on SNY. Jeremy Reed comes in for defense in the 9th inning as Livan Hernandez tries to finish what he started. Adam Dunn, who's accounted for the only Nationals run, leads off, and Dunn takes a strike.
Are you saying that Sheffield's done enough tonight?
I'm saying that we were talking about what day he might get off. I believe this is his inning off.
Oh, good.
And that's all he's getting.
That's right.
Dunn is 2 for 2 tonight. And he takes a strike, 0-2. Single to left in the 2nd, walked in the 4th, and then homered down the left field line in the 7th, his 15th of the year. Josh Willingham and Willie Harris to follow at the top of the 9th. 6-1 New York. Tap to the third baseman right, playing in the shift. High throw, but Tatis comes down with the tag, 1 away. They've been not used to throwing from that angle.
It's not only that, Tatis saw his life pass before his eyes as Dunn comes encroaching. Oh. Had plenty of time.
I don't know if he hadn't played baseball, would have been a football player at the University of Texas. Could have plowed him there. And it's Josh Willingham who takes a strike. Willingham 1 for 3 tonight. Livan's last complete game last July, pitching for Minnesota at Cleveland. That was one of those complete game losses that you were talking about, Ronnie. Curveball swing and a miss, 0-2.
That's a real good bite on that curveball for Livan, who has not lost anything over the course of his evening.
0-2. He couldn't get him to bite at that curveball. First pitch out of the strike zone he's thrown in the inning. Well, we talk all the time about the diminishing complete game. There was a complete game every 3.5 starts some 50 years ago. Now a complete game every 43 starts, and that's diminished greatly even from 5 years ago. 1-2. Tap foul. 2007, the most recent year we have numbers for, but you get the idea. It's a dinosaur.
Well, there's less than 5 guys around in both leagues that you say, hey, that's a guy that'll pitch a complete game.
Well, there's Roy Halladay, and then there's everybody else. 1-2 to Willingham. Hit toward the hole, base hit. And the Nats have their 9th hit of the game off Livan. There is still nobody throwing in the Mets bullpen, and you get the idea that it would take a Frankie Rodriguez situation to get Jerry Manuel to go to his bullpen here in the 9th. Willie Harris, the batter. Harris is 0 for 3. And we're assuming Frankie's available. He pitched last night, said he was a little sore during that outing. One out and one on. And Harris takes low and inside. That was the 116th pitch for Livan. Just for reference, the most he's ever thrown in a game, 153 in 1998. His first full season in the big leagues for the Marlins against the Mets. Of course, Livan came up in 97, a little before the midway point. Won 9 games for the Marlins and then was both the LCS and World Series MVP as the Marlins made their first championship run. 1-1 to Harris, a little bit high, 2-1. Josh Bard on deck. Vaughn came to camp with the Mets this year to fight for the number 5 spot, won that, and has since moved up in the pecking order. In for a strike, 2-2 to Harris. He has also been a wellspring of information for the other pitchers on this staff. Real calming influence. Never gets rattled.
Very easy going. Never know if he's winning 6-1 or losing 6-1.
Two and 2 to Willie Harris. Just missed. 3-2. That's 120 pitches now for Levon. Started the night with an 83-mile-an-hour fastball. The last one at 82. Just doesn't matter, does it? Bouncing ball, right side. Castillo will get it over to first, and that's the second out. Willingham moves up to second, but now the Nationals are down to their final out of the night. And Josh Bard is coming up. Bard is 1 for 3. He doubled to the gap in left center in the 5th, then was thrown out at the plate after a base hit by the Nationals pitcher Craig Stammen. Did we ever find out if Stammen got his baseball after Santos tagged out Bard? Two out of the top of the ninth. And AT NYN asked for time, requested by Santos. Barnes fouls one back. That one almost knocked the mask right off on here, Santos.
Almost done.
Good cutter in there by Levon. See him put up by Sonia asking Homer if he was all right. He can relate. Going to say Romero Santos, because of all the pitches Devon Hernandez has, an array of signs. Chance of carpal tunnel after this game.
0-1 to Bard, just misses. 1-1. Adam Dunn has accounted for the only run off Levon tonight with a home run back in the 7th. Fouled away, and now the Nats are down to their final strike.
Was he ended on that slow curveball, Barry?
That'd be perfect, wouldn't it? Oh. This will be his 125th pitch of the night. Got to work the bubble gum for one more. Curveball missed, and it's 3-2. In there for a call, strike 3, and the ball game is over. Levon Hernandez with his 46th career complete game, the first by a Mets starter in 2009. It took him 120.